Welcome to Kirsty Cast, the show where we hope to illuminate, entertain, and engage our listeners, helping them create the life they want. I'm your host, Kirsty Manna. Hey everybody, I'm Kirsty Manna, and welcome to Kirsty Cast. You know, it's been a long time since we've seen each other, but I'm so glad to be back. And today, we're going to do something a little bit different on this open. We are going to be joined by Bill Warner. Oh, he threw me a loop there. And, many of you might not know that Bill and I are married. I'm giving you a minute to let that sink in.
It's not a very well-kept secret.
We've been married for a really long time, like 2.5 years. No, add about 40 to that. And we've been working together in the music business for a really long time. And so we thought, it might be kind of fun to start the show with something a little bit different. And especially today on this episode, because one of our good friends, Leanne Binder, is going to be our guest, and she is from our hometown of Youngstown, Ohio. Now, I say Youngstown, Ohio loosely for those of you from Youngstown, Ohio, because actually I'm from Poland, Ohio, and Bill's from Boardman, Ohio, if we want to get all folksy about it. And Bill, did you have anything you wanted to say about being folksy?
Go Spartans.
Well, for those of you listening from Boardman, that's his favorite football team of all times. Anyway, so when we were back in Ohio recently, I went up there to do a songwriter girl workshop, and I did it at the Smart School in downtown Youngstown. And I said to the organizers, man, it would be so great if we could do a songwriter round. And I don't really know if there have been very many songwriter rounds up in Youngstown, but we put one together. And when we first started talking about it, the first person I thought of that I wanted to appear on the round was Leanne Binder. Leanne and I've known each other, I don't know, Bill, what do you think, like maybe about 10 years? Has it been that long?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, we met her some time ago. She actually came to consult with me on songwriting, and then she recorded some songs with you, Bill, and so we've just always kept in touch. And then she also hosted a songwriter girl workshop for me right there in her backyard at Firestone Farms in Columbiana, Ohio. So it was a big, it's always like the big old home week when we go back. And we had a great time with her playing on the round. And Taylor Borton, who lives in Nashville, and she's an upcoming guest here on the podcast. She also played on the round. She lives in Nashville, but she's from Youngstown. So it was really a lot of fun. It was a sold-out crowd, and we were so excited to do that. It was so great to see people that had supported me all these years, have them come and see us do a live show. So
let me interject that in Youngstown, we always consume plenty of immigrant Italian food.
Yes, you have to do it. We make a list of where we want to eat, and we just go there and we eat as much as we can. And we just are, we constantly are eating our way through Youngstown. It's ridiculous. We eat so much food. But I'm so glad to have Leanne on the show. And I just wanted to talk for a minute about what it is to not pull up all of your roots, but to really stick with your roots and stay where you're from and make a name for yourself there. And that's exactly what Leanne has done. Everybody knows her. They really respect her. They love her. She plays shows all over that area. And we hope to be playing some shows coming up soon together again. It would be so great if we could. And I think there's something to be said when people stay in their hometown and they can really make it happen. Because I know I've met with a lot of people out there that are listening that talk to me about, what should I do, Kirsty? I really don't want to leave my hometown, or I really can't do that. Just get to work. Listen to what Leanne has to say today in this interview. And it's really all about your desire. And she also comes to Nashville and she records music here. So maybe that's kind of an answer for you. Maybe you're not ready to pull up the stakes, but you could come to Nashville and you could do some recording. There are still some studios left here. We obviously are sitting in our own studio. And so, there's a lot you can get done from your hometown and get ready to come to Nashville and really, make some noise. And so that's something else you can check out that Leanne brings up in our interview. I think it's really insightful. Bill, what did you think when we left Youngstown and we came? Well, first we went to LA, but when we came down here, did you really think that we were going to be able to do it? We haven't talked about that in a long time.
It was we had a real sense of adventure, and everything was new and interesting, and it required a lot of growing on our part. We thought we were ready when we got here, and come to find out that wasn't the case. We thought we knew how to write a country song and had to really go to school, so to speak.
Yeah.
We were fortunate to be able to work with writers like Michael White, and he wrote at the same company we were at the time. So there was quite a learning curve, but you got to enjoy the journey too.
Yeah, it's so true. And the other thing too that Leanne does in Youngstown is she has a studio called Songmill Studio, and she's a vocal coach there. And so she's, making a lot of fans that way, people that really respect her and love to study with her and are learning so much from her in that way. And I think she also has vocal students down here as well with that Songmill Studio. She has kind of an annex. But it's a really important thing if you're going to stay in your hometown to really make the best of it. Every town that you're at, just about, unless you're in a really tiny little place, I've always said, there's artsiness in every place I've ever been. And so you just have to seek out your people, so to speak, and see how you can make those kinds of things happen for yourself. And of course, I do mentoring and consulting, done a lot of that with artists and songwriters, career counseling, so to speak. And I'm always happy to work with people that are interested in trying to perpetuate their creativity.
And you never want to discount the power of the internet, because
that's right.
The world keeps getting smaller and smaller, and people could stay in their hometown regardless of where it is, and they're going to have access to the whole world.
Yes.
So
there's people
big
that
difference.
Yeah, and there's people that come and go from Nashville, and I think a lot of people think they live here. There are different artists that have done that for years. So it's not an impossible thing to do if you're really determined, just I always tell people, dip your toe in it and see if it really feels like it's a place you need to be all the time, because you can visit here and live remotely and work remotely. Well, enough said on the old hometown talk, and I hope you are going to stick around, because in just a few minutes we are going to be having a wonderful interview and listening to a new single from Leanne Binder off of her new album. So don't go away. We're going to be right back with more KirstyCast. I've spent years of self-discovery learning how to live a successful creative life. That's why I created my course, Spark Your Creativity, the Steps to a Successful Creative Journey, to help others discover their own potential. Your creative journey never ends. So why not invest in yourself and sign up for my course today at Kirsty.com. See you on the journey. Well, I'm so excited today to have a really, really wonderful human being and marvelous entertainer and a writer, just a singer. She has all the things going. She's like the quadruple threat. And she's from my hometown of Youngstown, Ohio. Actually, I'm from Poland, but I call Youngstown my hometown because nobody's.
That's what I say too.
How that goes. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She is this amazing blues rock singer, and I love her description of her music. It says where Rust Belt blues meets rock and soul. I really like that.
Thanks.
She's an amazing singer, songwriter, entertainer, and she has a diverse musical repertoire that has resonated with people everywhere. And I've just shared the stage with her recently, and it was so much fun. I feel like we're sisters in music or something. From intimate solo performances to big stages with full bands, she's graced all kinds of venues, She played an amazing venue. You might recognize the name of The Cavern in Liverpool and the Great Rhythm and Blues Festival in the UK. And also, she was in the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, and also shared the spotlight with people like Joe Bonamassa, who I absolutely love that guy, Marshall Tucker, and Dickie Betts. And she's also a respected vocal coach. She operates a studio called Song Mill Studio with locations in Ohio and Nashville. And she's an amazing, talented performer and mentor, and continues to inspire in the world of music. Please welcome to Kirsty Cast, Leanne Binder.
Woo! Hey, Kirsty, how you doing?
Good. It's good to see you. We were just talking for a minute about a show that you just played yesterday, and you said you were sweating like crazy because you had to play outside in muggy weather. And I just wanted to talk for a second about your absolute dedication to being a consummate performer and a real pro, and how you could speak to that for people that are listening that maybe have conditional thoughts about performances. Because if you want to perform, you can't have those, right?
Right. You can't. I think there always is a point where I always say, is the squeeze worth the juice? Like, there's always, you have to make sure that you're not going against anything that you believe in as an artist, but there are times, you're just going to cover a song that people want to hear, like, till you think you're going to jump off a cliff if you sing it one more time. But people are enjoying it. And what I've learned is when you mix your originals in with stuff that people love, especially out doing like like what I would consider regular gig work, most musicians are out gigging, venues and amps and bars and whatever. It makes them embrace your own music a little bit more, or take interest in what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you show up. I try to always be early. I watch my times because it's my job.
Yeah.
They as much as we all love what we do, at the end of the day, you're providing a service.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be respectful of that. And consequently, you usually, if you do it long enough and you put the time in, your venues get better, your money gets better. It's not always that way. Sometimes I just do stuff because I love the people that are surrounded by a certain event.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm in.
Well, and it's interesting what you said too about playing a cover so many times you're going to jump off a cliff. You think about artists that do that. I've been to concerts where I've heard an artist say, I don't really want to sing this song anymore, but if I don't, you're going to have a fit, to the audience. Right. But my mom used to talk about that, and she would say, somebody requests Crazy by Patsy Cline or whatever it is. They get to hear that once in a great while, and you're singing it every night. And so you have to put it into that perspective,
There have been a few like national acts that I've gone to see over the span of my life where they were kind of a curmudgeon about it. And
they've made a fortune off of the song, but they're being a curmudgeon.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I would give anything to go, oh, I'm so tired of playing my hit song. Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, it's so bad.
Well, I feel like when you're an indie artist, though, even if you haven't, had 10 million streams or it's been on the radio, for 6 months or something, I still think, it's your hit. Every indie artist has their hit, or their hits that they play that their fans really like. Mm-hmm. So tell me, who's influenced you as a musician, as a writer, in whatever aspect? Who's really done it for you and continues to do so?
I started out young. I was thinking about this interview, and I was thinking about how long I've actually been writing. And I think I wrote my first song and recorded actually in the studio, went to a recording studio. I must have been 17 or 18 years old.
Wow.
Which that was young back in the day. Now everybody's,
they're 12 and they're recording. Yeah.
Yeah. But, that was, back in the day. I remember being a little girl on a swing set and writing songs in my head and singing them. I think I just innately always liked that idea of writing, of making up stories, because they were always little stories to me. And then I started listening to musicians that I really loved. And, you know, I fell in love with, at a very young age, with Freddie Mercury. It
Oh
just, I think
yeah.
because I came from an opera kind of background vocally when I started out, he made sounding operatic kind of cool. You
Well,
know,
you
when
know,
I,
it's really funny about Eddie, Freddie Mercury,
Freddie,
about Queen. I kind of missed them
did
when
you?
they first came out. Yeah, I don't know why, because I really love that music, and his voice was so amazing. But go ahead. I
Yeah,
just
it
wanted to
just,
throw that in there.
yeah, but along with like, I'd lay on the floor. As a very little girl, listened to like Wagner and
Uh-huh.
it's weird. But my mom had Johnny Cash and Peter, Paul, and Mary, and like great. My dad loved the Everly Brothers, so that songwriting kind of just became instilled in me. And then when I heard Freddie, and it became all of this big orchestrated, over the top. You know, I am a little bit musical theater. You know, I have that
Yeah.
little bit of this in me. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I started digging into blues and learning, just reading up on rock stars and stuff made me love, well, how do they process this? And I'd read liner notes. Remember what liner notes you get
Oh,
in?
I loved that.
Oh, and I think that started all of that writing. And then and I learned that was a place you could put your feelings.
Yeah.
Or even you could watch something else, because I was convinced I was going to be a Disney character when I was a little girl. Like I just knew I was going to be like this little like floppy haired dog or something in a Disney movie, that you could write for people
Yeah.
besides yourself. You didn't have to like splay yourself open every day that you write.
Yeah.
You could write for movies or for a cartoon.
Yeah.
I just started going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I know. And the whole thing too of figuring out how to write. And I the first time I forayed into writing, I was a teenager as well. And I really was encouraged by my mom, and I wrote a song, and you had to write a patriotic song, and it was for some real estate, company in Poland or Youngstown or something. And I entered and I won, and the song was called Give a Salute to Uncle Sam. Of course, my mom, her friends called her Miss Liberty. So, she was real patriotic. So of course I was, getting a dose of that.
Sure.
But it's just really interesting, when you think about writing now and when any of us first started, what it really felt like. And, I think there was kind of more of a fear for me of it being right or wrong, of course, than there is now. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm older now, so that I've lost that whole thing too. But it's real interesting, how your process changes. And what is your process as a writer? What gets you going on a song, or how do you like to start it, or is it always different?
It's always different. It really is. It depends on what I'm writing. I have a guitar that lives like literally hangs on the wall next to my bed. And I have a piano. I'm at my piano right now. And sometimes I'll just start plunking around, and I'll think, oh, I really like that chord. I'll just run some weird chords and a melody will hit. And sometimes if the melody's strong enough, the words just fly out. Like it almost is like the melody catapults the words. And then there's other times where I find something really that I really like a saying, or I think of something, or I hear something in a movie, or I don't know where the inspiration comes from. You just kind of get it, and that kind of twists. Like, I've got to write a song about that. I wonder what that means. And then I just play make believe.
What have you discovered about yourself with your own personality that goes into your songs? Like for me, I know that, I like some kind of humor in a song, even if it's snarky or subtle or something. I like that if I can get that in there. What have you discovered about yourself?
For me, I'm a big lover of a redemption thing at the end. Like if it's something dark or if it's something sad, I don't like to leave people unhopeful. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm very cognizant because I believe that words, and when you put words with melody, they have a tremendous amount of power. So
Yes.
I'm very respectful of that thought
Yeah.
because it does. I teach young kids and young girls, and I see them ingest
Oh, yeah.
whatever they're hearing, whoever they're listening to. So I carry a sense of responsibility for
Yeah.
what I put out there. But yeah, I would say I can't seem to not have some kind of "don't worry, it'll be okay" kind of
In your song, that's really
signal.
nice. Well, and that's interesting you say that about working with young girls because they are so impressionable, and just the thing of young people think like whatever they are right now, that's what they're always going to be. They because they haven't lived a lot of years. They don't have the perspective of, oh, I might like this, or I might go to, Chile, and I might go, I need to come here and be a missionary, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I think that
Right.
is it's really true. And that was always something that I thought about with Songwriter Girl camps when I used to have host those here in Nashville and beyond. Is that these people are hanging on every word you're saying, and they're just sponges. Speaking of redemption songs, I thought of you yesterday, and my sister Sherry said, Leanne Binder has got to hear this if she hasn't already. Have you ever heard of this act called Sons of Legion? Have you ever heard of these guys?
No.
Oh
Uh-uh.
my gosh.
Okay.
You got to go check them out. And they have this song called Walking on the Edge. You will love this song. My sister
Okay.
sent it to me, and she said, and these guys are based in Nashville. It's like, how did I miss these people?
Yeah.
They're really great. But anyway, tell me about recording your album, because I know you recorded it in Nashville.
I did. I recorded it down in Nashville, not too far away from you guys.
Yeah.
It was nice. The way I fell into working with Lee Turner was kind of just I think it was a universally designed thing so that all of this other stuff could happen. A friend of mine up here named Mike Estek, who owns a wonderful studio in Canfield, had moved up from Nashville. I
Okay.
went because he lives like down the street, like
Wow.
right by the Canfield Fairgrounds. So I'm
That's
like, oh,
nice.
cool. I don't have to travel far. Well, he was booked solid. And I really needed to get this Christmas song that I had recorded out.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if you don't mind traveling to Nashville, my friend Lee might have some room. So I called Lee, and by 10 degrees of separation, Lee works with Darius Rucker, who is friends with my friend Paul Sanchez in New
Oh my
Orleans.
gosh. Small world.
Yes, and it just kind of Lee's like, oh my gosh, and Paul and I had a write together, so it all kind of just he's like, fly down, and we started recording together about 6 or 7 years ago, and finally I started looking to push some songs that I thought had some real heat to them.
Yeah.
And my friend Cornell Bogdan up here said, you probably should put this all on an EP instead of, everything now is just releasing singles.
Yes.
He
Yes.
said, but especially for blues and blues rock, the charts, the roots rock radio charts need like an EP or an album to kind of tie in.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because you really need to, so we waterfall dropped some singles and then put this EP together.
What is the thing behind that with that kind of a format? You know what I mean? With having to have the EP. Do you know?
I think I don't really, but when I looked up on it, and I don't know if it's because blues is such a niche genre that blues artists and blues listeners tend to gravitate towards albums, but I had already released 3 singles that were doing very well on some iHeart radio station, blues radio stations. So we thought it would be best to kind of put that together and release as an EP. And to be like full disclosure, I needed some merch. I mean,
I got to get some else on the table.
yeah, I needed I have an album, I have a couple of albums out, but I
Yeah.
had just been releasing singles all digitally, and people enjoy having something from an artist, like when
Yes.
you're playing.
Yes.
So it was kind of a good excuse, and I'm like, well, it won't hurt anything. I really should put some of this stuff down on, CD. Even I know, because CDs.
Well,
are
the thing too about having a CD is you can always bundle it. You can say, hey, you buy this hat and you'll get a free signed CD, or you can say you can have the CD or I can autograph it, and then you charge more money for that too. Because
Right. It's all just part of because we make so much money on Spotify and
I
all these
know
streaming services. We're
that
like,
we have more money to spend on the merch. Well, tell us the name of the album, of the EP.
the
rather.
album is called the EP is called I Got Something to Say.
Yes, I love that.
I thought it was going to be named a whole different name, and at the last minute I wrote this little kind of, it feels like a little Bonnie Raitt-ish kind of blues tune with Lee and Rick Monroe. And I started thinking about collectively, what does the EP represent?
Yeah.
And I was like, every song, I actually have a little nugget of something that I hope people take away with it. And the song that we wrote was called I Got Something to Say. So I just said, okay, that's it.
That's the title track. So we're going to listen to a song, one of your songs from the EP right now. You played this. We didn't even touch on this yet, but we'll get to it. We played this when you and I played that show together with Taylor Borton in Youngstown for the song
Yes.
for a Weekend. And I just think this song is so great. It's called Drinking Stars.
Yes.
I don't want to say anything else. We'll play it.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about it.
All right. Sounds good.
Everybody, get ready to be wowed. This is Drinking Stars by Leanne Binder.
I've got a green light, white lines in my headlights, nothing but ghosts left in my past. 'Cause there are lies that people tell you and truths that people hide, and somewhere in the darkness I'll be satisfied. I'm drinking stars to cover my scars, beautifully reckless, unchained and breathless, silently walking away. I'm drinking stars and I'm closing doors. I learned my lesson, don't need no confession. I know this for sure, I'm drinking stars. Take a seat in the front row, I've got something you must know. You had little to give, and I expected too much. 'Cause there are lines that people tell you and truths that people hide, and somewhere in the darkness I'm still satisfied. I'm drinking stars to cover my scars, beautifully reckless, I'm unchained and breathless, silently walking away. I'm drinking stars, and I'm closing doors. I learned my lesson, don't need your confession. I know this for sure, I'm drinking stars. I'm drinking stars to cover my scars. Beautifully reckless,
that song is amazing. It was really impacting the first time I heard it when you played it that night, and you live are your singing live is just so great, and so you're so committed. You give it up, and I love that you do that. So now tell me about this song and where the title came from, because I remember that night you were saying it was some really strange way that you thought of it, or that you ended up calling it that. So who'd you write it with?
I wrote it with Lee Turner.
Okay.
Lee is a co-writer on everything on this EP except for a song called Let It Pour, which I wrote on my own. But everything else, he is on with me. I had this other song in mind when I went down to Nashville. We had the session booked. The guys were all lined up. And I played it for Lee. I was so excited. I had like 10 pages of different verse, in case you prefer this. Like, I was so on top of my game. And he's like, Leanne, we can't write this. And it sounded too closely to another song that was just being released I had not heard yet.
Okay.
So that got thrown out the window. And I was a wreck because, I'm flying in and out of Nashville to get this done. And he goes, settle down. It'll be okay. And he picked up a guitar, and Lee's a piano player. That's his first instrument. And that's a lot of times what he writes on. Well, he grabbed this guitar and he went, jung, 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 jung. And I'm like, oh. I go, it needs to be stankin' bluesy like that. And I've been carrying around this name. A friend of mine has a book on her piano in her house, and it says Drinking Stars. And it was recipes for champagne.
Oh my gosh.
An old book put out by Moet and Shando, I think. But it was like a recipe book for champagne cocktails. But it just said Drinking Stars on the front of it. And I thought, that is such a cool, and I've carried it with me for years.
Wow. Did you ever make any of the recipes?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I did.
Yeah. I'm not a champagne drinker. I'm a whiskey girl.
Okay.
But, her and her daughter are champagne girls. And we have tried some of the cocktails, and they are very good. So I had just got done reading this book by Matthew McConaughey called Green Lights. And that was like twirling in my head, where he's like, if you're getting the universe pushing you this way and God's opening door, that's a green light.
Yeah. That sounds like a good book.
Yeah, it's a really good book. And he's got that voice.
Yeah. So you listen to the audio version.
Yeah, I don't read.
Oh.
I'm a
yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good. And I was just like, I've got a green light. And then I just start telling myself the stories. I'm like, well, I've got a green light. So now what happens? And this is how I think I process when I write too. I'm like, all right, I'm in a car. I've got a green light. What white lines in my headlights?
Uh-huh.
Well, where am I going? And I literally processed it exactly that way. I'm like,
wow, that's cool.
Like ghosts left in my past. And the song wrote itself, I'm not kidding you, in probably 10 minutes.
That's so great. Well, it was divine.
It was like, Prince talks about how there's this field of creativity that runs above all of us.
Yeah.
And you get anointed or dabbed with it, like it's yours.
Yeah.
You don't stop and take that moment.
Yes.
Because I was scared to death to go to Michael Jackson.
Wow.
So I don't feel that was a very touched song. Same with the Christmas song that I wrote, came out just like that.
Yes.
It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes
No.
it doesn't really work.
It's really, it is true. Sometimes it's really work, and sometimes it just happens. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've listened to all the songs on the EP, and I think it's really great, and want to congratulate you. And
Thank you.
And I know you're going to have a lot of success with it. Now, what's a piece of advice you can give to our indie artists listening out there about releasing your own record?
What I would do is educate yourself on this thing called waterfall releasing.
Okay.
Especially if you aren't going to just do singles. If you're going to do like an EP or an album, you want to drop a couple singles first and then include those on your EP or your album. Because, and there's a way to do it. You can roll your streams into your album release. So it boosts the album release in the algorithm. I'm
That's
not
interesting.
giving away like trade secrets. I mean, you can do that, and it just helps because you're an indie artist. We don't have people pushing us.
Yeah, well, you don't have a team of 5 people on a marketing team and,
No.
the radio promoters and everything,
Yeah, it's me and like whoever's around me, and I'm like, hold this camera. Okay, thanks.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Are there any radio stations in Youngstown that are playing your music? I don't know about the radio stations there. Do they play indie stuff at all? I know Summit in Akron does, right?
Yeah,
could go there.
I just was on with Brad Savage this morning.
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
drop the EP down. They've been very good. The Summit has really, gone behind a bunch of my singles.
Mm-hmm.
And Cornell Bogdan is with iHeartRadio, and he has a show on Y103 called Tangled Up in Blues.
That's
And-
perfect for you.
Yeah, he's the one who talked me into starting this whole push. Because he heard Drinking Stars, and then he heard Broken Things, like 2 of the new cuts. And he
Yeah.
had been pushing a little bit for a couple of months, and it's been received really well. He's like, Leanne, we got to, like, you're getting jump on these songs. So big shout out to Tangled Up in Blues and Cornell.
That's
for
really
helping.
great.
Yeah.
Now you need to you said that book of the champagne recipes is from a long time ago. You should send them a copy of your song. The people that wrote that book. Are you back? Did you hear
There
what I
you
asked
are.
you? Yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm so sorry. We're getting some thunderstorms up here.
Yeah, so
I live
you're-
out in the country.
Yeah. I said you should send a copy of Drinking Stars to the people that wrote that recipe book, the champagne recipes book.
They may be dead.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like
we
a
don't
really
want-
old book. It's like
Oh, okay. When you said
You know
old
what I
book, I thought you meant like 3 years. You mean like 30 years.
like 40 or 50 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's an
then,
old
yeah, don't
used
bother.
book. I was thinking about calling Starbucks.
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, just go local. Start with the local person and see what they'll do. Maybe they'll put it
Yeah.
on their playlist, because they have
Yeah.
they have playlists, or if you make your own playlist, maybe they'd play it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can't hurt to ask.
Hey, they can say a lot of things. They can say no, but there's a lot of other things they can say besides that.
You
know
I
what I'm
never
saying?
take no for an answer. I'm just
I
like,
never do
okay.
either. I know it's just a momentary blip. Okay, I'm coming back.
Yep. It's a red light. Okay, it's
So-
not that way.
So I'm only green lights, baby.
Only green lights.
So I always ask my guests this question. Tell me a story that I like to call it your Stay Inspired story. Tell me something that's happened to you in your life. It doesn't even have to be about music, that really has kept you inspired, or something you think about if you get down, or in that way, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so when I was 18 years old, I was accepted into Dana at 12
Wow.
for voice. I auditioned at Ohio State in opera when I was 16.
Were you interested in being an opera singer one time?
No.
Okay.
But you could only, if you wanted to be a singer, you got opera or you got music ed. Which
Okay.
I didn't want to teach choir.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and just when you studied classically. That's what you studied.
Well, Dana was like that because I studied at Dana and I was a voice major, and then I went to becoming a piano major. But it is true. It's classical. I mean, I think most colleges are like that. They even make commercial students study classical for a while. But go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm a big believer in a classical basis so that you have
Yeah.
all the different colors of a crayon you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I want the big box of crayons.
Well, and to understand too what all those abbreviations that you see in a piece of music, what they mean, sforzando, pianissimo, all those kinds of things. And I also think it's really important to understand music, not just wing it. I really think it's important to understand chords and all that kind of stuff. You obviously do, but so go ahead. I keep stopping your story.
Yeah. No, that's all right. So I got in, I went to college, and by my sophomore year of college, they had blown my voice out.
Oh no.
I came home to study with Mrs. Raridan at Dana, and she called my parents and said, I can't promise you. I know if she stays there, she'll never sing again. And I can't promise you, even if you take her out, that I can save her voice. So I dropped out of college. I came back to Mrs. Raridan, and she and myself worked our butts off and rehabilitated all the things that didn't work for me down there. And she saved my voice.
You know, that happened to me at Dana. I had to stop singing for 8 months because I had vocal damage.
Oh, did you?
Somebody was trying to get me to be a soprano and I was an alto. But anyway, that's crazy. We
Yeah.
got that experience.
Yeah, luckily there was no vocal damage. I got a really big mouth. But walking through that was probably one of the darkest things I've ever walked through because, I'm a singer that can't sing.
Me
It
too.
was horrible.
It defines you and then you couldn't do it. I understand.
And
Wow.
coming out the other end of that and seeing that and coming to terms with my voice got heavier, like it was more of a mezzo, and I was a coloratura soprano, which is fine for rock and roll, but like learning to embrace all of those things and walking through something that was really fire, like very difficult,
Wow.
made me realize that I was stronger than I thought. And it also made me feel like there was a reason I was singing,
Yeah.
because I said to God, like, if I'm not supposed to do this, you got to take this ache of it away from me.
Right.
And I just kept hearing, just keep doing this, Leanne. Just keep walking your path. It'll be okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the thing that when things get really rough, I'm like, yeah, but I can sing.
Yeah.
I didn't lose that in that big firestorm when I was young.
Well, it's like you didn't get the gift for nothing. And
Right.
I felt the same way. I luckily, had studied piano all my life, and I had an amazing piano prof at YSU, Dr. Larry Harris. In fact, he came to our show in Youngstown. He's 80 years old now, and he came to see me perform, came to see the show. But I learned so much from him, and then I felt kind of free, Leanne, when I didn't have to study the classical thing anymore. I kind of felt free because it wasn't really what I wanted to do anyways. And then I ended up doing the jazz thing in college. So it was a blessing in disguise in a way.
I say that about what I went through getting out of Ohio State. It truly was a blessing in disguise because I was one of those things that just could open my mouth, and anything they told me to do, I would regurgitate. Like I
Right.
was very empathetic that way. I could feel
Yeah. Well, and the other thing
still feel
too,
where people sing from.
the
Like
other
if you
thing
sing
too,
at me,
like what you were saying earlier, impressionable young girls, we were both impressionable.
Yeah.
So we were, doing what we were told to do, so to speak.
yeah, we didn't know
You
to
know?
say this really hurts me, and I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. This
So
doesn't
I
feel
try
right.
to teach advocacy with my girls. I'm like, if you get to school and they are doing something that doesn't feel good in your voice, stop it.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
People don't know everything just because they're older than you.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, and that is so true about being a singer. And I've always had my favorite vocal coach was here in Nashville, Phoebe Binkley. She's passed away now, but that was her thing. Is just sing and make sure that it feels all right, because everybody can't sing the same, just because
No.
Celine Dion can sky and hit these high notes, or Kelly Clarkson, that's their gift. That's what that's how they were born. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to do that. That's what I love about Dua Lipa. is that
Yep.
she sings low, and it's like her thing, and it's sexy as all get out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's getting the point across. It's so
Tony
great.
Braxton did it too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So
For me, it's all about imparting vocal health,
yeah,
because I tell my girls, you don't want to sound like Taylor Swift or Kelly Clarkson, or as much as I love the voice, like
Oh,
Celine
yeah.
Dion, Barbara Streisand, it's been done. They are
Yeah.
already themselves.
yeah.
We need you to be the best unique you, whatever
Yeah.
that means.
That's it. That's such good advice. Well, I want to ask you this too. You probably have 5 of them, but what's a power word for you?
A power word for me. Faith is a power word for me. Have faith. Not only faith, in the greater meanings of faith, but faith in yourself, faith in your ability.
Right.
Faith, I believe in the innate goodness of other people.
Yeah.
I truly believe what you put out there attracts.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like energy attracts. I know that's a little woo woo, but it's, it does. And,
Yeah.
to be grateful.
Yes.
Gratitude is a big deal. I learned that sometimes when things are really bad and you feel like you don't, like the whole world just, like a big bird pooped on your head, you're like, oh God. Find the gratitude. I don't care if it's in, oh, look how pretty those flowers are.
Right.
Or I love puddles. Like
Yeah, the
whatever
simple
it is,
things.
simple things.
Yeah.
And build yourself back from there and try to live in more of that state of gratitude. I think it's really important.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Well, it has been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and I wish we lived next door to each other. We would have a blast. But I hope I get to see you soon. We get to share a stage together. And
Too many cats.
where can people find your music? Where can they find you online?
I have it's streaming everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming things. My website is www.leannebindermusic.com. So all of the tour is set up on there, and links to all of the social media stuff. Anywhere, Leanne Binder Music, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, blah blah, all the stuff.
Yeah, that's great. You're circling the universe. I love it.
That's right. I'm flying around.
Well, congrats on your release, and I hope you have tons of success with it. I know you're spreading the joy everywhere, and you're such a great person. And I completely forgot to mention that you had hosted a songwriter girl workshop for me one time back in Columbiana at Firestone Farms.
Yeah, we did. That was fun. Chrissy, honest to God, it's been such a blessing meeting you. And Bill. Hi, Bill. I know he's got to be around there somewhere.
He's in here somewhere. He's taking a picture of
Pay no attention to that man behind the screen.
especially because of the way he's dressed. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I've come down and demoed at your studio.
Yeah,
Bill,
you did.
You produced some demos for me, and Love in the Moonshine I put up on Spotify that we did in your studio.
Oh, cool. Well,
So thank you for always being a part of my musical journey and inviting me into these places, because I truly appreciate it more than you know.
You're welcome. And there's Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Let me get out of the shot here. Hi.
Yeah, I know. We need to take some screenshots of our wonderful Zoom. Well, I hope you don't have any terrible storms. Yeah, we need to take pictures of each other. That's
I'll
good.
take a picture of you. And
You take a picture of me, and I'll take a picture of you. That'll be fun.
Okay, you ready? Hi,
There you go. I love it. Well, I hope you guys have great weather today, and good luck with your gigs this summer. We'll be in touch soon. And
Yeah, I'll make a few phone calls today while I've got a couple hours before I have to go into the studio, and I'll see what I can do about, finding out what's going on downtown.
All right, that sounds great.
All
Well,
right.
anybody out there listening, this has been Kirsty Cast interviewing the wonderful Leanne Binder. Don't forget to listen, like, download Kirsty Cast. This episode is going to be up very soon, and share it with everybody. And don't forget to check out my online course, Spark Your Creativity. Look at all my social media. I'm Kirsty Manna. Whatever you do, stay inspired. You've been listening to Kirsty Cast.